This is my assignments for the back end. Here is the user interface I create. I don't have any time to do the styling, and I'm aiming for a G. So here's the login page, and if we don't have any accounts, we can click here so we can create an account. Let's try with happy. Yes, if we sign up, there will be a sign up successful information, and we click here so we can log in with our new account. Happy login. Yes, here this is the log out button, and here is the add new node. If we click here, we can add title happy's first node. If we click here, create, we can see the node here, and we can edit it here. We can happy's first node, very happy. Yes, and we can also delete these. There will be a warning sign, and if we click OK, it will be deleted, and we can log out. We can log in with test, where I have a lot of nodes here. Yeah, here you can see the list will look like this, and you have edit button and delete button after each node. Now let's take a look at my code. Yeah, let's start with the back end. I have two parts, the front end and back end. And the back end, we start with, I have a controller and a database, middleware, model, routes, env documents, and swaggers. Let's start with the app documents. Oh, oopsie. Yes, here. Here. Let's start with, here I set up the main routes and create the port, which I use the port in my env documents here, and I also the JSON Web Token secret I stored here in env as well. Yes, and use the XPRIZE, and I also set up the course options because on my laptop there is I always encounter course problems, so I set up here so it can help me to work with API better. And yes, here is the routes for the user, for the nodes, and for the Swagger as well. And listen to the port so everything can work. And yes, let's start with models. This is my node models and my user models here. I have two models, and it's basically the same with what we learned from previous week's course. And new data store, import data store, and use new data store and file name and autoload truth. And here I also console log my user database because at first it didn't work, so I used this console log to try to debug to see what's the problem. And then let's go to the routes, node routes and user node. Here I set up the Swagger information and also set up the node routes and user routes respectively. Here is the node routes. Yes, it's I also use auth middleware, of course, to authenticate, so authorize the node. And here the node controller is get nodes because there's get nodes, update nodes, delete nodes, and yes, there's the first one. The first one is get node. Yes, I think there should be 4. Yes, here is create nodes here. Yeah, the first one is get all the nodes. And the Swagger information is very difficult to check because it has a very restricted requirements for the format. So I have to spend quite some time to correct all the intensities and space. And yes, here let's take a look at the controller. Here is where I create all the functions like get nodes. Yes, for get nodes, I try to get all the nodes from the node database. I use find and also try to sort all the nodes by the created time. And I also yes, and here is create nodes. I have console logs in each step here, all through the codes, because I encountered a lot of bugs here, a lot of errors. So I try to use console log in each step to locate the bug on the exactly step, and so it would make debugging a bit easier. But I think maybe in reality we should remove all the console logs because it may affect the efficiency of the codes. I'm not so sure. Here I use title and text. If no title or no text, if or the title and text is over the limitation of the length, it will return 400 error, and if not, it will create new nodes with these. And I use insert to insert new nodes into the nodes node database and to see if there's errors, and also console log to see if node has been saved. And here status 201, so node created successfully. And update the nodes, I use ID, title, and text. Yeah, it's basically similar if the node ID, node title, node text, or the title and the text over the limitations of the length, it will return error. And otherwise it will use update the nodes database with ID, user ID, and to change the title, text, and modify time, and to use num updated to see if everything has been updated. If it's not updated, it will return 0. So not return 0. So if it's not updated, so the non-updated will equals to 0, and then it means that the nodes not found or not changed. And otherwise, if it will return node updated successfully. And for delete, I use ID. So if there's no ID, it will return node ID is required. And if there is ID, I use remove to remove the data from the node database. And if number removed is basically the same, so if nothing's removed and no change, so it will return node not found. And then otherwise it will return node deleted successfully. And for the user controller, here is where I create sign up and login. For sign up, it's the same. I console log each step for debugging reasons, for debugging use. Here I use username and password. No username, no password, it will return username and password are required. And if there is username and password, we'll try to find if the user existed in the user database. So if there's error, it will return 500 error, server error. And if there is existing users, it will return 400. So user already existed. And if no user existed in the database, then you will go to create new users and also will decrypt and hash the password. And if there's anything wrong, it will return error hashing password. If no, you will create new users with username and hashed password. And then this new user will be inserted into user database. And if something went wrong, it will return error creating user. If not, it will. I use try and catch here also for debugging reasons. So it will create tokens with JSON Web token and sign the user ID generated by the systems, and then with the JSON Web token secrets, and the expire time is 1 hour. Yes, and then it will return this 201 successful. And the login, also username and password. If there's no username, no password, it will return 400 user and password required. Also use find one username to check if the user existed in the database, and if no existed users, we will try it will return invalid user and password. And if there is existing users, it will compare the password and existing user's password with bcrypt. And also if there is no match, if it's not match, so it will return 400 invalid username or password. And if it's match, so it will generate token with JSON Web Token sign, user ID, and JSON Web Token secret, and expire in 1 hour is the same. And also return 200 status, login successful. Yeah, and here is the yes, user route. Yeah, and then yeah, here is the middleware auth. Here, here I create the auth middleware. It's basically it's quite similar to what we learned from the course in previous weeks. We first create auth headers, and then if it's not no headers, if or is not start with bearer, it will return 401 error, and otherwise it will create a token with split and index 1. And JSON Web Token verify the token and with the secret, and also return the decoded user ID, and then next, so it won't stuck in the middleware. And yeah, that's basically the, and here is the database. Here yeah, you can see all the nodes we created, and the users are created. Here is the happy. And also here in the terminal, we can see this information of the user, and the modify time, create time, etc., etc. Okay, let's quickly take a look of the front page. Yeah, here's the front page, and in the app, I have 3 components here. I don't have any time for styling. So in the app, I set up the routers, and this is not the app. Here, I set up the routers, and yes, the token set token, because I store the token in the local storage. So when handle log out, I also try to remove the token, but I don't think it's in top priorities, since the token will be expired in 1 hour. But I think it's better to try to use it and to learn how to do this properly. And yeah, here's the route where I set, because I use promises as well. So here I pass the value as well, and this action for unlogout. And sign up page here, yes, the interface set token, and I use state, form set form, message set message, and navigate. Here is set form to handle change. If you change, update the values of what you have changed. And here handle sign up to, first is fetch from the API, user sign up, and use post, and to get to store the username in the database, in API and in the database, and then to set token and message sign up successfully, and then navigate to the nodes. And here is the HTML. And here in login is basically similar. So it's form, navigate, and also handle change. And here, yes, use post to handle login. And yeah, and here is the nodes. Yes, nodes, interface of nodes, and the values. And here is token unlogout. Yes, a lot of use state and use effect. First is fetch nodes, and fetch nodes from the API nodes. Use get, and also use authorization with bearer token. And here is data nodes. And then use effect to call the fetch nodes function. And here handle change is basically the same, and handle edit change, because I separate create nodes and handle and edit in 2 different forms. And here handle created nodes, fetch API with post. So you can update the so you can create nodes and store it in the database. And here is set form, set show create form. So when you finish, the create form will close. And then add fetch nodes. So after you create new nodes, it will update your node list. And here is handle editing, use put, fetch API and put, and then yes, fetch again, so it will update your list automatically after you change everything, change anything, and delete is the same. I create a window, pop-up window, to warn you that you really want to delete, and then use delete with fetch API, and then yes, fetch, update all the list. Yeah, that's basically everything I have